I'm making a thumbnail. This is hurting my eye. Yeah, not blinking. I'm not gonna blink. Okay. What is up, guys? I'm back. Sort of. It's been a while since I released a video. And this video contains spoilers, so go, leave. Leave if you don't want them. Today's video is as close to a reaction video as I will probably ever get. And the only reason I'm doing this is because it's for one of my favorite shows that recently ended, Gravity Falls. For those of you that don't know, this is an animated series that has been running on Disney Channel and Disney XD since 2012. For those of you that do know, the show ended its 2-season run on Monday, which is unfortunate, but I respect the creator's decision. There is no question that he delivered with a fantastic series finale. To start off, I'll give a quick recap. We left off with Dipper, Seuss, and Wendy rescuing Mabel from her bubble prison created by Bill Cipher. The four of them decide to go hide at the Mystery Shack. They are greeted by Grunkle Stan and a number of characters that have been seen throughout the series, including Multi-Bear, Larry King's Head, the Manitors, the Gnomes, and a bunch of other characters. They all decide to work together to make a giant robot out of the Mystery Shack to fight Bill and his minions and save their great uncle Ford. There's a bit of fighting that goes on. They manage to save Ford and the entire town with the help of Gideon, and Ford tells all of them about the Zodiac prophecy that is supposedly one of Bill's weaknesses. But when the Zodiac failed, Bill manages to capture Ford, Grunkle Stan, Mabel, and Dipper. Dipper and Mabel manage to escape. Stan and Ford switch places to trick Bill into thinking that Grunkle Stan is actually Ford, so that Bill will enter Grunkle Stan's mind, thinking that he's going to learn how to take over their dimension. When Bill realizes that he's entered Grunkle Stan's mind by mistake, Ford uses the Mind Wipe gun on Stan, which causes Stan to lose all of his memories, and it also destroys Bill in the process. So Stan is left without his memories, and we think that's how it's gonna end. But Mabel, being the determined 12-year-old that she is, manages to help Stan regain his memory with her scrapbook of all of the photos that she took during their summer in Gravity Falls. In the end, the town comes to celebrate Dipper and Mabel's 13th birthday. Stan and Ford decide to travel the world together to discover new anomalies. Seuss becomes the new manager of the Mystery Shack, and Dipper and Mabel go back to Piedmont, California. I know there are a lot of details that I missed in that, but I'm not going to get into all of the cool stuff that happened. And with that, there are a few questions that I have about the finale that I'm sure some of you might have, and that possibly Alex Hirsch decided to leave out of the show. When I talk about these things, I don't want any of you thinking that I'm bashing the finale. I just think these are a few little nitpicky type things that I was thinking of while watching the finale that could have been included in the finale. The first one being the Zodiac prophecy. I think that was completely underplayed. I think the show tried to make it a bigger deal than it actually ended up being, because if you remember, that Zodiac has been showing up since season 1, and there have been so many different fan theories about it, and unfortunately it was never used to defeat Bill, all due to the inconveniently timed bickering of Stan and Ford. I think it would have also worked well if the Zodiac wasn't played up so much at the beginning. That way we wouldn't be expecting too much from it in the finale. The second thing I want to talk about is Bill's throne. As you can recall, Bill's eye bats turned the majority of the citizens of Gravity Falls into stone to be built upon each other to create a giant throne for Bill. Gideon explains that by pulling out one person, the entire throne crumbles and everybody becomes unfrozen. I think the whole reason why that is possible is kind of glossed over. It's not really explained how taking apart the throne will cause everyone to become unfrozen. But maybe I missed something. Number 3. Where is Time Baby? If any of you recall the articles that Alex Hirsch was in talking about the first 2 parts of the finale, he explains that while it seemed Bill killed Time Baby never actually died. We're just kind of left with the idea that Time Baby is gone, but he's not. And Blendin too, for that matter. We see Blendin leave after Time Baby is killed, but we never see him again in the finale. Did they just decide to stay out of the fight? I don't make the rules. Another thing is Ford's apology to Grunkle Stan. After Stan saved Ford from being stuck in another dimension for 30 years, Ford never thanked him. And even when Stan tells Ford to thank him, and he does thank Stan, it's very half-hearted and sarcastic, even though at the end of the episode he asks Stan for another chance, which I guess could be considered an alternative to an apology. But I still think that bit of sentiment could have been added. Another idea that's not really a picky thing that I have, it's just something I'm really curious about. Why does Bill leave a stone statue of himself when he's about to go into somebody's mind? I'm just curious because he didn't do this in the season 1 finale. But I guess maybe he has to do it now because he has a physical form? Why did the rift seal after Bill was defeated? The rift was caused by Stan using the portal to bring back Ford. Bill really only helped to expose the rift. Okay, last thing that I didn't quite understand. Bill's backwards message. Right before Bill is defeated, he says a backwards message, which sounds like, and when this is reversed, it sounds like, "My time has come to burn. I invoke the ancient power that I may return." Which begs the question, is Bill really dead? I'm sure a lot of you could say, well, of course he's gone, that was the series finale. But there are still so many questions unsolved in the series. Maybe in due time, Alex Hirsch will answer some of these questions. Now on to the good stuff. I believe that while this might be the darkest episode in the series, it still manages to play off the humor quite well. There are a lot of great moments with Seuss and Mabel and Larry King's disembodied wax head. The show really does well to include humor even in the darker portions. I like how Seuss became the new manager of the Mystery Shack. That was something that was probably a long time coming that a lot of people might have predicted would happen. For a while though, after Stan lost his memory, I thought that maybe Seuss would convince Stan that he's his adopted son, but obviously that didn't happen. But it still might have made for an interesting ending. I really loved the send-off for Mabel and Dipper. I think that had the perfect amount of emotion and sentiment, and also that background piano music for that sequence was perfect. I don't want to be that guy, but there were definite feels from that piece. Overall, I think Weirdmageddon Part 3 was fantastic. I really loved all of the nods to the previous episodes. It had so many great elements to it. It included the humor, it still stayed a little bit dark, there was a lot of emotion in it, there was the great theme of sacrifice, the theme of friendship, the theme of forgiveness. I just think it tied together so well, and I think Alex Hirsch ended the series perfectly. It is unfortunate that we're not going to have any more seasons of Gravity Falls, but it's better than dragging the show out until it basically kills itself off. There are still so many questions that I have about the series in general, but I think that sort of makes it more alluring. You may not feel the same way as me. Let me know how you felt about the show in the comments. And if you didn't know already, I did 2 Gravity Falls impressions videos. I'll put the link in the description for those. And if you haven't seen Gravity Falls yet, I highly recommend it. It is truly a work of art. Also, feel free to share this video with Alex Hirsch on Twitter. That's his Twitter handle, if you're wondering. And thank you for subscribing.